Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Oh my gosh, first of all, I love Einstein. I'm going to get a picture with him later. He's awesome. So in weather, many of you have probably heard of the Farmer's Almanac. Okay? Proverbs are a big part of weather. You've probably heard of red sky in morning, sailor take warning. Well, there's another proverb I'd like to start with. It goes like this. Whether the weather is rainy and stormy, whether the weather is sunny and hot, no matter the weather, we'll weather the weather, whether you like it or not. All right. So how do we weather the weather? And this will be an audience participation section. So I want to ask you, how many of you, by show of hands, have had a flight delayed or disrupted due to weather? Okay. Very good. How many of you have had a longer rush hour commute because of the weather? All right, that's all of you. How many of you have changed your weekend plans because of the weather? All right. So just consider, each one of you, that's a customer, that's a consumer, that's a policyholder, where weather is integrated in your life, and you are making decisions off of that. And if you aggregate that as a whole, in the US alone, weather is the single biggest swing factor, external swing factor on the order of $500 billion a year. And that is all opportunity for us and Salesforce to improve on our offerings. So thank you guys for coming today. I want to start here by introducing René.
Well, I had hoped that I can talk at some point after you, Matthew, so that's awesome. So welcome, everyone. My name is René Winkelmeyer. As you can hopefully read it over there, I work as a developer evangelist with Salesforce, and within our strategic partnership with IBM, I work with a weather company over the last couple of months on crafting a developer story for our audiences, for you, our Salesforce developers, how you can incorporate weather into your Salesforce organization, into your Heroku environment, into your business processes in general. So Matthew will introduce himself,
yes,
likely, after this long talk. I will tell you a bit about weather and the weather company, and after that, I will introduce you into some options, how to incorporate weather into Salesforce org, into a business process, and so forth. So, your turn.
So, my name is Matthew Porcelli. I am a meteorologist, so weather runs in my veins. I caution everybody, be careful what you ask, because I may give you a 30-minute answer. But I'm really excited to share with you the offerings that the weather company brings under IBM and the partnership with Salesforce. So I'm going to start here with a video to kick things off. That's one of the cuter videos we've made. I like that one. So IBM and Salesforce, we are coming together and can really make music. We have very similar missions. We are trying to help the world make better decisions, improve people's lives, save lives, and weather plays a critical factor in that. As part of the IBM and Salesforce partnership, we brought together 4 pillars. So whether it's the analytics offerings combined with Salesforce Einstein and IBM Watson, if it's integrating the IBM integration suite, so these are analytics products like Watson Analytics, Cognos, Bluemix services for APIs, the consulting services with Bluewolf, and we are sharing a booth, we'll talk about that in a little bit, with Bluewolf that provides the consulting services into Salesforce. And the reason why we're here today, the weather insights that you can gain with your business through the weather company under IBM. So before we dig into the products, we got to talk about the foundation. And the weather company has been building its weather foundation for over 30 years. How many of you know or watch the Weather Channel? Okay, nice, we love it. How many of you know Weather Underground? Okay, it's us, love it. How many of you have a personal weather station in your backyard? Yes, we have several, okay. You guys are single-handedly helping improve the forecast for your neighbors. And our IoT story has over 250,000 of these stations spread all over the globe, including over 5,000 here in the state of California alone. And when we dig deeper into the IoT story, the data we're collecting from airliners, 50,000 flights a day were installed with services with over 95% of airliners in the US today. We are collecting that data to improve your forecast, to help reduce 50% of crew injuries and maintenance reports on aircrafts in the US today. And we have a 95% location services adoption rate with our Weather Channel app, which allows us to get pressure data, which again helps us improve the accuracy of the forecast at the surface. So with this huge data aggregation with government sources and people like all of you, we have used statistical models to build the most accurate global forecast service in the world. And that service has not gone unseen by tech giants. Both Android and Apple have tech services where we are providing weather data to the native weather application into those apps. And we have to process that volatile demand for the data every day, up to 26 billion forecasts. So as much as I'm a meteorologist, I love weather, but we are moving out of the weather business and we are moving into the decisions business. So we are helping transform industries to make weather essential in their everyday operations. And I'll give you guys a couple examples of how this factors into your own life and into your Salesforce client and engagements. So I'm assuming all of you travel, all of you fly. Only 5 years ago, airliners used to push as many flights out the door before the deluge of snow would come down in the Northeast. And you'd have people who are sweat-stained, people who are lugging luggage from one gate to the next to find that one red coat behind the kiosk that's handling hundreds of angry people. It's a horrible experience for everyone involved. So what the weather company is doing now, we have incorporated data services into the airliners and their operations. You guys now get a text 1-2 days in advance to know that your flight is canceled and you're on your couch in your sweatpants and a six-pack beverage of your choice. And all they have to do is spin up a call center to handle your calls and reschedule your flights. It's a better experience all the way around, and it's changed the way the industry operates. In retail, even if you are an unknown user and you have an IP address, we know your location. We now know the context of the weather you've been experiencing, the weather you're experiencing now, and the weather you're expected to experience that you guys all said you have changed your weekend plans around. There's a study in the University of Alberta that found people who were exposed to sunlight were willing to pay 18 to 26% more for the same exact product as people that are socked in clouds. We even build targeted indices. So how many people have had frizzy hair before? Low humidity? All right. We built a frizz index. Yes, we did. We invested money in this. You would get that targeted on your phone for your location, and Pantene saw year-over-year sales uplift from that campaign by 24%, just by targeting those ads. If we look at insurance, again, transforming the industries, we are changing insurers from being claims processors to being the first line and helping mitigate claims. So consider, half of all insurance claims are caused by weather. 23% of auto accidents are due to weather. And some of you may have heard just this past May in Denver, a hailstorm hit, baseball-sized hail, right during rush hour. An insurer saw 3,000 calls for claims in the first hour after the event. Even 30 minutes warning to prepare for that influx of calls, and even saving 10% of the $1.6 billion in claims that came from that single event. Insurers are looking for ways to build analytics to improve the offerings to their policyholders and change the way they do business. Lastly, energy and utilities, renewables. We have a section over solar panels over here in the back, be able to incorporate weather. Iowa alone incorporates 92% of their energy with renewables. In California, it's 25%. And as much as that's cheap energy, it's volatile energy. And the one thing utilities are required to do is when you flip that switch, those lights better come on. So we've been building services around load forecasting to help utility companies generate the power that's needed to take advantage of renewables and building out the energy infrastructures around the world. So when you look at Salesforce and the different clouds, whether it's the sales cloud and we're providing weather to generate leads, if it's the service cloud to generate context with your customers, if it's the commerce cloud and how weather disrupts the supply chain, we have solutions to offer you with our weather data. And I'm going to hand it off to René to show you what we have to offer today and where we're going. René?
I can finally speak again. That's awesome.
You're allowed, yes.
My break was not long enough, right? So let's talk a bit about how you can incorporate that nowadays into your Salesforce organization, right? So we're talking at the moment about weather data, or Matthew talked about weather data and what they can all do and what they all build. But we as developers, because I'm a developer, I want to incorporate that into my own stuff, right? Because I have my own custom organization, I have my own custom needs, and I may have my own custom implementation. So there are ways to access weather data. So I'm giving you a brief overview over some of the offerings that the weather company has. In this example on the Bluemix platform, which is easily accessible, so you can just spin up an account over there and play with weather data. And I just take your hail example, and this example includes tornado warnings. So it's just a very simple REST call, right? So you call a URL, provide longitude or latitude data, you provide a country or one of the other options, and you get a list of events. So let's take an example, this alert for weather alerts, and we are getting a tornado warning. So if tornadoes affect your business, or it could be hail, it could be snow, it could be also strong wind, or too much rain, right? You can just get that data directly for your specific location. The question is, how can you really make use or incorporate of that? And I want to show and also discuss 3 different ways with you. The very first and simple implementation is to use it in UI, right? So an example in Lightning. So what I did was I created a small Lightning component for Mark Rainmaker. He lives here in San Francisco, and whenever a sales rep opens his account, he gets on the right side of the screen the weather for this account. So how are we doing this? First of all, we are using data integration rules built into Salesforce that automatically enrich an account or a lead or an account or a lead with longitude and latitude data. So once you store a mailing address, we automatically enrich that. And we make then use of the capabilities of the weather company data to make a REST call for this specific account. So I've been told today that weather is the incarnation of small talk, right? So sales reps will love that. They open an account and they just talk to someone. So how we did that? We just use some simple Apex for that. Who's familiar with Apex? A few. Lisa too? That's awesome. I haven't thought that. I haven't thought that. So it is basically a REST API call that we're issuing here, right? So what I built, and this is already available as open source, you can find that on the Salesforce Developer Relations blog as an unmanaged package to install that, is a very simple wrapper that takes all the JSON from any kind of call from the weather company data. And this call goes and issues a simple HTTP response with the authentication that's needed. For Bluemix, we have a basic authentication, parses all that JSON, and this is universal. So whatever you want to fetch, whatever data you want to fetch from the weather company, you can use this wrapper all the time. If I say you can use it all the time, let's go a bit down over here. The get weather observation method is all what you need to get the observation for the current location. And you can replicate that. You can replicate this method exactly as it's over there to use it for a 3-day forecast, 5-day forecast, intraday forecast, weather alerts, whatever you have, right? So very easily to incorporate. Mm-hmm. But this is only for UI. So it's nice for a service agent, it's nice for a sales guy. But as Matthew pointed out, it makes really sense if you incorporate that into a business process, right? So let's give you an example. And I'm not in insurance. I think not many companies are insurance companies. So let's think about a company that produces windows and also is doing the fitting of the windows, right? And you can't do that when it's rainy, when it's too storm intensive, too windy, whatever. So what they are doing is they are scheduling appointments after an opportunity has been set to closed one, right? Doing automatic scheduling for in 2 weeks, I'm sending the handyman and he will fit the windows. And they're using weather data with a scheduled Apex call or with Process Builder to check the weather for all tomorrow's appointments. So can we really do the fitting? Right, which makes totally sense. And then reschedule if needed, like if it's too rainy, if it's too windy, the appointment to achieve a higher customer satisfaction on one side, and the other side make a more effective usage of their own field personnel. So for doing that, we are also using a very simple Apex method because we have all those wrappers already here, right? Like get weather 3-day forecast. So I have a very simple method, check weather forecasts for fittings, right? Where I'm just saying, okay, give me the 3-day forecast because that contains tomorrow's weather, and give me that every day for all tomorrow's appointments. And then I'm going to evaluate the bad weather conditions. So bad weather conditions could be anything, right? So in our use case, that's bad word for German, by the way, the precipitation. I hate it. It's like your title. I can't do it.
I can't understand a word you're saying. So.
Yeah, absolutely not, right? Or an example, the wind speed. So I'm just doing a very simple check and make, based on that, a decision that can influence my business, right? So based on that, we're just issuing, in this example, very simple, a new chatter post to inform the dispatcher, please reschedule that. But I'd like to take that a step further. Just imagine you have data in your Salesforce organization like order history. Let's take the San Francisco 49ers, right? I'm not in football, so I'm German, so 49ers,
he
right?
told me it was the 69ers
yeah,
earlier, and that's
I got called out on that.
At all.
So imagine the 49ers, right? Have all their order history, so they know how many people attended a game, how many beers have been sold, how many Coke has been sold, how many hot dogs have been sold, how many merchandise has been sold. They have it all within their Salesforce organization. And then they are taking historical data from weather and map that, right? an example, put it in Heroku using Spark ML technology, our prediction IO, to create a pattern out of that to predict for next weekend the weather will be between, the temperature will be between 74 and 84 degrees. So we likely need that amount of Coke, that amount of hot dogs, that many stuff, right? So you can just fetch, only one API call from you and create a real good resource planning for your business. An example. Or I had that for truck planning. I was talking to the IoT guys. Let's take it another step further. You have trucks that drive around the US and deliver stuff, right? A truck is going down from New York to Miami. And using IoT Cloud, the truck is transmitting all the time status of fuel, tire status, and other things, but also geolocation and speed. So we know when the truck will be where. And we are checking on that route the alerts, like will there be a tornado in Florida? Likely at some point in the year, right? So we can pre-warn the truck based on the data that he's communicating through IoT Cloud in combination with weather company data. Just another use case for doing this. And there are a ton of other use cases that we are happy to discuss in our intelligent weather station over there, where we also a couple of more interesting use cases for incorporating that into your development environment. And you have a bit to talk about packages for that?
Yeah. You can swing back the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the weather company today, they offer a series of REST-based API services. It's quite simple. Being able to provide a postal code or a lat long in order to incorporate the data sets. A lot of the GitHub repositories that we have available today for you, and we'll show you how to download those here in just a moment, that's incorporating the core data sets. So it's giving you current conditions to the nearest airport. It's giving you the 48-hour forecast. It's giving you the 10-day daily forecast you can help make decisions off of. When you start upscaling here, our enhanced package both increases the resolution spatially, so you're getting that every 500-meter resolution current conditions across the globe, and temporally. So instead of looking at an hourly forecast, you can now look into every 15 minutes. So if you have to make a decision around when to leave for work or when to send a shipment, you can decide between when that rain stops at 7:45 and to ship out at 8 a.m. We also have geospatial data sets, polygonal thresholds. So if you know your business, so let's use the stadium as an example. If you know that your customers are going to purchase more beverages at 80 degrees or more, you can get a polygonal output showing you every location, especially here in San Francisco where the temperature changes every block. We can really target down to every 500 meters. And then even the severe weather data sets, things like hail forecasts, lightning forecasts, especially for things like event-based parks, pools, and power disruption, really severe weather data sets. We have APIs for you. So where do you go? We have a booth. You can find us. We're around the corner in the back, booth number 4A. We're with IBM and the weather company. Blue Wolf is on the back end from the consulting services. And you can also download our data at github.com/theweathercompany. And those are available for download today. And swing by, we can show you some of those GitHub repositories in action over in our booth or over at the Intelligent Weather Station. So I was going to wrap this up super corny, and I'll end with the proverb again. But no matter whether the weather is rainy and stormy, whether the weather is sunny and hot, no matter the weather, we'll give you the weather so you can master the weather yourself. And that's it. Thank you guys for the time. Appreciate it. So corny. Anybody has any questions?